T. Welcome back to Case Closed Anime Review, episode 178. I'm apologizing right now. I'm sorry I did not get a chance to do this last week. I had so much other stuff. I did not get to this last week, and throughout this whole week, I have been trying to get this one, and now I finally got this done. A week after it comes out. I keep hoping this will stop. It just basically stuff like this just happens. I keep getting I keep getting distracted by a bunch of stuff. I'm sorry about that. So this one discussing the newest episode of the series. Excuse me, for Case Closed. Episode 1066 Till Death Do Us Part, and the new chapter manga, chapter 1003, the Monochrome opening. I will discuss that soon. This episode is their TV original episode. The episode starts off, of course, this involves a wedding, mostly a death of the wedding. Yes. Now, it starts off with a dog running around. Yes, a dog. Okay. Then they catch the dog, put the thing in the kennel, and the dog is seen a couple of times afterwards in sort of a playpen. Yes, they put a small dog in a playpen for reasons. And after the dog's taken care of, then we actually have it where, we have the bride come in, and I'm thinking something's wrong with this picture. Number one, where is her father? And that's something they did bring in the episode, because they never explain where her parents are. It's just kind of weird that she's here and nobody's coming down the aisle. I'm like, that's kind of strange. Also, no wedding party. I'm used to see I don't know, a best man or maid of honor. No. I get the fact it's a small ceremony, but there's no wedding party. No bridesmaids, nothing. I'm like, what the heck? By far, now I'm sure I know this is Japan. Heck, even though one of the last times they had a wedding in the series, at least the bride had a freaking wedding party. This woman had nothing. Walking down the aisle, I think halfway down. By the way, we actually see Conan and Mori at this wedding. And then she starts choking I can't breathe. Of course, then she just dies after coughing up black stuff, which turned out to be poison. Yes, a poisonous mushroom. So then, immediately after, of course, we have Mori. Surprisingly, Mori, one of those rare times in the series, he's not written to be a complete idiot and not over the top and accusing the wrong people of possible murder. No, he actually is doing his job. Well, not as thoroughly as Conan does, but he's asking the right stuff, which I do appreciate the fact they're differently in this episode. It's almost like the person of this episode probably getting sick and tired of a more written a complete moron. Actually do his freaking job, at least a little bit of questioning per se. So the police called in here are basically Takagi and Kiba, which that's a bit of a rarity because a lot of the time these original episodes, Takagi's definitely there, but usually a lot of the time it's Inspector McGuire here too, which is interesting to say the least. Also, here's a question: where's his smoking hot girlfriend? Sato, where the heck is she? And where's Kiba's beautiful girlfriend? That's a really good question. So, basically, they ask, and of course, when the bride dies, we have 7 individuals saying stuff, and Conan hearing every single thing. I'm like, that's interesting, the fact that he hears everything, like too soon, too young, about the wedding being cursed, stuff like that. And of course, Conan does ask these people what they meant, what they said. And they do explain. In the case of the first person they asked, was actually first person they asked was the wedding planner. They talked to her first, and apparently the bride and groom had every single detail, basically every single minute of the wedding planned out on a iPad. Now, I have been to 9 weddings. Here's the thing about going to weddings. Weddings are not planned to be out that detail like that. I personally have been part of a wedding party. As a matter of fact, that was part of my brother's wedding party with one of his groomsmen. Yes, and yeah, I did have to wear a suit to the wedding, not a suit coat, because it was outside. Now, they do have a waiting room here. Now, in case you're curious, though, what have been to weddings where the bride is sort of a waiting room per se, like a room basically for themselves? Yes, my sister's wedding had that. Some of them, not all of them, I basically saw this for them, but my sister definitely did have room for herself and her bridesmaids. There's also bridesman as well. One of my pastor's son, who my pastor had married officiated the ceremony between my sister and now her husband, married for 5 years this year. And now, in case you're curious, though, did any of the weddings I go to was there a wedding planner per se, like my brother's sister's wedding? No, no, there was not. There was no wedding planner. As a matter of fact, of the 9 weddings I went to, I never saw a wedding planner. I know these people do exist per se, but the thing is, none of the weddings I went to, I never met the wedding planner. That's the honest truth about it. It's just that, well, here is the thing. In the case of my siblings' wedding, mostly put, it was just my siblings themselves for their respective weddings that they planned themselves. They didn't need a wedding planner. I'm sure other weddings probably needed it, but my siblings' weddings didn't happen. Sorry to say. And when I'm used to seeing weddings, especially even I've seen this also in other forms of anime, usually, even live action stuff, usually have a wedding, they usually have the father accompany the bride. Doesn't matter what type of wedding dress they're wearing, they always have the father accompany the bride and along with the wedding party. Here, not really for some reason. So, after talking to the wedding planner, what's up basically thrown off schedule, and of course they do explain that the dog belongs to one of the people attending the wedding. And for a wedding, this wedding was very sparsely attended. Like, looking at the way it was shown on the screen here, like, it was done in a church, it looked like it can fit, if you fill up every single pew here, I'd say about almost 100 people per se, based on this church. And I'd say roughly you have about 40 people here per se. And I'm like, that's kind of small for a wedding. Now, over the course of the investigation, they do reveal some stuff about the bride herself. Not much the groom. The groom has never investigated this whole wedding. He's sad by his wife dying, but surprisingly, he's never spoken to the whole time. Probably because he's grieving with the fact that his future bride basically died right in front of him. Right, give him space. Okay, so he talks to the groom's friend, who turns out to be also a friend of the bride too. And it turns out that the bride was two-timing the groom. Yes. Not only seeing the groom, but also the friend. And he's finally free. And he's like, oh, I'm just looking for a new love. And going over here is like, okay. Yeah, he basically probably regretted basically doing the relationship per se. So he told not to tell his best friend about this. And they talked to a few people. One who happened to be a friend of the bride. Which I'm like, why wouldn't this woman basically be one of the bridesmaids? Oh, because they didn't like her. Because she had a reputation for sleeping around with lots of guys. Yeah, she had lots of boyfriends. Now, why the heck she was like this, I don't know. And of course, they did talk to the father of the groom. Of course, he did question why in the world the bride's parents weren't there, which that's a really good question. A question that was never answered in the episode. Were they dead? Were they simply just unable to attend the wedding? Or simply they just don't like their daughter very much? You'd think they'd be here, but nope, they didn't, which is kind of odd. And of course, he did hire a PI to investigate her, find out stuff she did, try to tell his son about it. He refused to listen. Went to the center anyways. And they found out that the poison was actually in the chocolate. Now, the thing is, the chocolate was a special brand of chocolate that the bride really liked. So the father of the groom went out to buy them, and he basically kind of fed it to her because he wanted to ruin her fingers because she got basically just got them done. Yep. And so it turns out that the chocolates are poisoned. Now, here's the thing. Now, he bought them basically in a store in Baka City. Basically a city that Conan and Mori live in. Now, he does not, like, he does probably just have a motive for doing this, But how would he know how to poison the mushroom? Use poison mushrooms in order to kill this bride, per se. Yeah, he probably just didn't know how to do it. So they continue investigating. And after doing some more investigating, it turns out the person responsible for the bride was actually the priest. I'm like, wow. I'm like, that is ballsy. Having the priest be the accused of the murderer. And his reasoning is because she indirectly caused his son's death. Basically, that they had a terrible breakup. What caused the breakup, he doesn't go into. And the guy later died in a car crash a month later. And the reason why did it was one of the reasons why, because she didn't attend the son's funeral. That was the reason for it. Well, one of the reasons, anyways. And, okay, here's the question. Where to get the poison? That's never asked. They do show how he poisoned it, or apparently got his hands on a syringe and injected each individual chocolate with this poisonous mushroom. Now you probably think, and of course, where did he keep the rack of chocolates? Under his robe. As a matter of fact, just right up here, which you would think basically him moving around the way he did, you would think that would be moving, but apparently, or at least someone noticing there's this big bulge on his chest. Apparently, no one noticed it at all. Heck, even I would notice something like that. And nobody did. As for the reason for it, not really explained. Yeah. I'm interesting to say the least. So the groom is the priest is arrested. And then, of course, there's this fun moment where basically Maury is like, hey, Randall marries. So he'll basically beat the crap out of her fiance. And, of course, he doesn't know the fact that Rand and Ichi are dating. Funny bit there. But I gotta admit, this actually was a very good, for an AM Range episode, this was really good. I was surprised how good it was. No stupid moments. No act like a complete idiot. There was some things basically that were questionable, like the priest could get poisoned, but damn good episode. Love it. Shockingly, there's no new episode for no sneak preview, which that's quite strange. Well, the reason is because this week and next week repeats. Yep, repeats. All right, moving on to the newest chapter of the manga, without the Monochrome opening. So we start out with seeing Maury eating at his restaurant next door to his office. With Rand, of course, he's eating sushi. And then apparently we see, by the way, it was revealed after one of the previous cases that this guy here is in fact Rum. Yeah, they reveal he's actually Rum. And him basically witnessing the death of a shogi player. 17 years prior to the series. Now, the thing is, who is shogi player, you might ask? Why, it's the fake brother of Masami Sara's second brother. And then we cut to the West Top building where Kobayashi has given her awesome boyfriend a gift. A night keychain. So it's all about a chest charm, okay. And what Kobayashi is here is interesting to say the least. And we also have IHOP here. And of course, the boys are here as well. Like some learned from parents. Like my parents had sure that I was born. And Professor, yep. And I was so grateful. And of course, show off all the other people who got various chess pieces. It's show off these various individuals. And then of course you have Sudoroy sit down to play chess because of the chess competition, and his opponent just happens to be his freaking boss. Yes, Superintendent Kuroda, which it's been a while since I've seen him. Which that's interesting. This was basically Superintendent Kuroda. Yeah, it's been a little while, and then not long after they started the playing chess, and then a song is played. Amazing Grace. Everyone's shocked about that. And of course he lost because even his boss has just lost. So yeah, it turns out someone played Amazing Grace as a ringtone that was kept in a window. Interesting. And of course, he knows, oh crap, his keychain was like, okay, so we're going to search for it. Of course, yeah, Huda basically questioning, like, we met before, haven't we? Wagashi Sensei. Well, the camper chip. I think before that. And there's like this older lady. Apparently, it looks like maybe they met 10 years prior to events of the series, maybe earlier. Because based on his flashback, you see, because I think he's supposed to be probably in his 50s, I'd say, right now, 50s ish. Wakabashi is 38 years old. And here her eyes are perfectly fine. And she was old lady. Who this old lady is, don't know. Perhaps there's a resemblance. Then we see this guy in the bathroom. And he just sitting here like, oh, there's a keychain on the floor. Let me get a soda. And then for some reason, arrows poking up next to the vending machine. Yeah. And then, of course, basically, like, the guy goes to have his drink. He drinks it. And then his cup explodes. Yep. And it's like all over the table. Like, what the heck? Aaron, apparently, he's been shot by arrows. And they check the bathroom finally. And it turns out the guy in the toilet gets killed by a freaking crossbow arrow. I'm like, interesting. Then we see by his feet, we see a magazine and a keychain. Now you might be thinking about this, like the keychain, is it so that they might expect sort of road all this? I highly doubt he did this because he uses a gun, not a freaking crossbow. But this looks interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to the next chapter. Which, who knows when I get a chance to view it. Time will tell. But yeah. Like in the case of the anime, just a damn good chapter of the manga. Give the chapter a 10 out of 10 because this was really good. I just love this thing. This was awesome. Okay, so that's a particular view. Next up is going to be a comic corner. Yes. Excuse me. I'm probably here for video stand anyways. Okay. Review. Bye.